Alrighty, guys, welcome to tonight's charting session. It is Wednesday, October 25th. Hopefully, everybody is doing well, has had a good day today. Tonight, we're going to be going into kind of what we did today. I ended up taking two trades today. Both were in the PM. We'll go over the morning action, why I really didn't like it. We'll talk about my bias going into the day, what I was kind of looking for, what I was watching throughout the day, and then the two trades that I ended up taking. I took one loss, and then I took one winner. And I'm up around 1,000. So I lowered my size pretty significantly today. After especially since I made so much yesterday, I came in today lowering my size. So we'll talk about those. So going into the day here on NQ, my bias going into the day here was really going to be determined off of this imbalance right here. And a lot of the times, what I always tell you guys is when we're kind of back and forth and we're respecting two different imbalances. I told you to have a really loose bias going into the day. Don't be too long biased. Don't be too short biased. Wait for this imbalance to really show you what it wants to do. And the reason I say that is because on a bigger time frame, we have these equal lows swept. We've come up. We have rejected this daily fair value gap now. So now we got to go either way because we swept sell side. This could get ran through to the upside. But right now we're respecting it, which is bearish, right? So now we're coming back down to this 4-hour fair value gap. And this is where, in point of time where it's like, I'm not looking to take any sort of trade here until we either decide what we want to do here. Again, because I'm focused on what's being respected, what's being disrespected. If this ends up getting we hold this, that means that I'm looking to see a sweep of these internal lows here, get displacement back up, maybe run the fair value gap that we have here, and then look to target higher. So I'm waiting to see, number one, are we going to run this imbalance to the downside, or are we going to hold this, displace to the upside, and give me some sort of bias, right? Because going into the day, in the morning, we woke up, and I mean, looking at the 5-minute, this is really all we had to base anything off of. It was just this move to the downside, right? And then we started to form action here at the open. So at the open, I'm not really looking to touch anything because I don't know enough about what the market wants to do yet. Meaning, I don't know if on a bigger time frame like the 4-hour, if this is just a wick, to fill this imbalance and then wick back up to the upside, or I don't know if this is now going to become an inverse. So I waited for the morning to kind of settle. And I waited for the morning action to kind of set us up for the rest of the day and see what we want to do. Because what I'm confident with is if we do continue to break this 4-hour fair value gap, it gives me a clear drawn liquidity, right? If this ends up getting broken through, I'm confident that we go to here, right? This becomes sell side, and I'm confident that now I can use this bias as an opportunity to take some sort of short trade. But I need this fair value gap to get ran through first before I can take any sort of valid short to target this low, right? But once this gets ran through, then I'm like, all right, we're confident I can look to take possible shorts now. So AM action didn't take anything. Let the market settle. Don't really even see any kind of opportunity that I would have looked to take here. Maybe here when we came up, we swept that one last time. But again, I still really wouldn't have looked to take anything. So the trade that I did take was a little bit of a scalp. I zoomed out to the bigger time frames, again, overlapping what I tell you guys to look for, which is once you have a drawn liquidity, zoom out, wait for a bigger time frame rejection, zoom in, look for a stop rate, look for a fair value gap targeting, whatever that internal draw is, right? So that's what I did with this trade. My external draw is this low. We're starting to sell off. I'm expecting us to probably see this low today just because we're starting to have a lot of selling pressure. I zoom out. I notice we have a 5-minute fair value gap right here. Do we also have a 15-minute here? We do have a 15-minute, so we have a 5-minute and a 15-minute fair value gap that we're starting to retrace back into. I zoom in. Again, what am I looking to see? I'm looking to see a stop rate, and then I'm looking to see displacement to the downside. So I zoom into the 15-second here. I was on a lower time frame today. We come up. We're coming up. We tap this 5-minute fair value gap. We get displacement. Again, I'm still not waiting. I'm still waiting for a stop rate. Boop. Come up one last time. Stop this high out. Internal. And then we start to get a displacement to the downside. Right when we start to get displacement right here, and I noticed that this was most likely a stop rate, we've now rejected that 5-minute fair value gap. Again, I waited for the first entry, right? The first entry would have been this. I waited for the first entry. Once this then confirms, and this now we reject this to see lower, I then take the second imbalance, which was right here. And that's just my personal preference. I get higher probability setups when I wait for the first quote entry, or what regular people would be looking to enter. I wait for that to validate itself and show that entry was actually valid and it would reject, and then I take the second entry. It just gives me added confirmation, and I just feel like that it gives me a better win percentage when I do that. So took the second entry, entered on this 15-second fair value gap, got a really nice sell-off, and I just targeted this low here. Didn't really let any runners go, and looking back, I wish I took runners. So the problem with this specific trade, is I got a really bad exit on this. And right when we ended up coming down here, I actually didn't get filled right here. I got filled like here. And the reason is because we came down, wicked this fair value gap, or wicked this sell side level, and I noticed that ES had not yet taken this, so I was, again, afraid of an SMT. We wicked this, had this instant candle back up, and I kind of panic sold because I didn't know or feel like we were going to sell off. Like, just from this 1 15-second candle, I panic sold, got a really bad exit, even though I should have, sold here or left a runner. And then right after that, we ended up selling off. So I kind of just got shaken out right here on that little candle after that sell side because I was like, all right, well, my target's, hit. We could definitely possibly bounce now. So I kind of just took it off. And again, I'm not upset about it. It's more of just recognizing it. Looking also at a bigger time frame, I absolutely could have left contracts. I mean, there's so much room on the table here. Looking at this 5 minute, there's so much room to the downside that we have, especially when we're this weak, that I absolutely should have left a runner, at least, marking standard deviation, or at least, trying to get a couple, a move out of this, if not leaving a hole on runner to take out that sell side level. But that's the only thing really looking back of what I would have done differently is just left more of a runner on the table. But other than that, again, pretty much exactly what I want to see for a model. Have a bigger time frame draw, bigger time frame fair value gap, wait for a stop raid, wait for displacement, take a fair value gap targeting that internal draw. And then really only thing after that is just leaving that runner. That's pretty much it. So that was the first trade I took today. Second trade I took was right here, later. Right after, pretty much looking to take the exact same setup here. Zooming into the 5 minute. We came down, did not take out that sell side level yet. So again, I'm still confident that we're going to still continue lower. I zoom back out. We have another 5 minute fair value gap. I'm zooming in. I'm waiting to see a rejection of this. And then I'm looking to take a short. Now, again, notice what I did wrong here. What do I normally say? What aligns with what I say, right? I took the trade right here. What had not happened yet? What had not happened yet? With what I say to normally wait for? Yep, no stop raid. There was no stop raid here. So I took this trade and I didn't re-enter it, which I should have. I don't know why the fuck I didn't re-enter this. I think it was more of just because I didn't want to give back profits. I was up on the day, and then I took this loss, and I was like, I don't really care to re-enter this. But yes, stop raid, right? What I always say: bigger time from imbalance. You have the draw, stop raid, displacement, imbalance. Didn't have a stop raid for this specific setup, so it's lower probability, right? And the thing that I really want to talk about in this session is you guys get to really decide how good you're going to fucking be. And I'm giving you the tools, and I can be so much better than I am. And you want to know why? It's because you have the list and you have the tools of knowing what is the highest probability that you can make money on a setup, which is exactly what we've just discussed. Bigger time frame draw and liquidity. Rejection of a bigger time frame imbalance, stop raid, buy side, sell side swap, whatever it is, displacement, fair value gap. If you only take, if you are so picky where you only take those setups, I guarantee you will wipe everybody out of the water. But why don't we do that? Because we're human. We have emotions. We have, we want to take other things. We want to have satisfaction. There's a bunch of things that come into it. But that is what comes into play of being able to control yourself, being able to stay patient, stay disciplined, and only take high-quality setups. So is this a bad trade? I wouldn't say it's a bad trade. The bias was there, right? I had the bias. I had pretty much everything I needed. What made this a bad trade, in my opinion, is that I just didn't re-enter. And it's not even bad that I didn't re-enter. It's really not. Again, I wouldn't say this is a bad trade, but looking back, I wish I did re-enter because I think I was just more too emotional. If I hadn't had taken that loss and I hadn't had taken that first winning trade, I probably would have taken that short, which would be here. Once we come up, stop raid this and then get displacement, I would have taken this. If I hadn't taken those two previous trades, it's most likely that I probably would have taken this, right? So that's why it's important to, whenever we talk about like, you have to go into every day completely scraped. Every trade completely new, right? this is a point in time where today, I honestly think I probably would have taken this if I didn't take, those first two trades in the day. And that just kind of happens, right? Because I was up, 1,600, and then I gave back like 500 on this stop loss or 600 on this, so I was up 1K. And then after this, we get displacement. I'm like, I don't really want to flip. I don't want to give back all the profits I made on the day, even if it looks good, right? I just was like, I'm good, and I stepped away. And that's great. That's a great thing to do. If you feel that way, then step away. And I'm glad that I did. But looking back, I totally think that if that did not happen, I would have taken the same trade, right? So learning moment from today, again, what I did right, what did I did wrong? I did right by stepping away and noticing that. What did I do wrong? Of just letting it stick with me too long, I think. Just letting that past experience stick with me too much. And at least maybe if I was going to take this setup on the second time, then just lower my size if I'm, not as comfortable with it, right? But again, it's never a bad don't ever like really criticize yourself for stepping away, because that is one of the most important things that you always want to allow yourself to do, because you know what's best. You're always going to know what's best. Nobody else is going to know what's best. If you feel like you're not as confident as you should be, or you're not as, in the right space as you should be, and you feel like you need to step away, you should listen to yourself 100% of the time, right? And I want you guys to get to that point where you have the discipline and you have the trust in yourself to understand when you say like, hey, I'm not feeling too good, or like I'm over trading, or I'm going to give back profits, like all this stuff. Because I know that you guys think this. I know that you guys have this fucking voice in your head that's like, dude, you got to stop. You're going to stop or you're going to end up blowing your account. Like, trust me, I know that you guys have that feeling sometimes. And you got to be able to trust that, and you got to be able to have the discipline to follow that, especially what you say to yourself. And that's why trading is, a lot of the times you'll see a lot of growth in understanding yourself better. And I did as well. After years of trading, I've seen insane amount of growth with just me understanding how I think. And because I'm focused on it, right? You have to be able to focus on when you're in a position, or like when you're trading, you have to kind of check in every here and there, and like, how am I feeling with this? Am I settled right now? Or is like, am I just taking trades to take trades, or am I actually being patient, or am I actually being disciplined right now? There's kind of like times where you really have to ask yourself those questions, or else you're just kind of trading in the fog. You're just kind of on autopilot, and you really do not want to be on autopilot when you're trading. Make sense? So those were the two trades I took today. Not a bad day. Pretty kind of boring, honestly. We just kind of sold off the rest of the whole day. But again, I do think that these are the types of trades that I do like when we do have trend days like this, where it's or straight up or straight down, which is rejection of that bigger time frame imbalance, look for a stop rate, and then continue the trend. So those are kind of my favorite setups to take on trend days like this. So any questions on those trades so far? Would we have seen the same result on a 1 minute time frame? I don't have the 15-second. What do you mean the same result? Wish I would have listened to you when you said quit trading for the day. Trust me, a lot of people probably do. Again, that's something that you guys are gonna have to. Guys, I had to get slapped in the face fucking hundreds of times, guys. Hundreds of times I had to get slapped in the face. Hundreds of times. Where I knew I needed to step away. I know that I shouldn't trade. I know that I shouldn't, but I still do. And you guys do the same thing. It happens. The more that you're focused on, again, you have to really ask yourself, why are we making that decision? Why? Because, like, for example, this happened to me pretty recently. Like last week, I had a day where I kind of just, I couldn't stop. Like I kept going. I was like, you kind of have to ask yourself, what is the cause of why we do that, right? Number one, it's either we need the satisfaction. You know what? A lot of the times when you start to spiral is when you're up on the day and then somehow you're red, and then all you're focused on is just bringing your P&L back green. That is when you get fucked. Is when you're up on the day and then you take a loss and you're red on the day, and then you're like, wait, I was just fucking up green on the day. I don't want to end the day red. And then you end up forcing trades and you spiral and you just get shit on. And you got to be able to recognize. That's why you have to set rules for yourself. You have to set rules for yourself, and you have to constantly encourage them and put them on you, and discipline yourself if you don't. If you break your rules, say I'm kicking my ass in the gym today, or whatever it is, or say I'm not trading tomorrow. That's my punishment. Is I'm not going to trade tomorrow since I broke my rules, right? You have to discipline yourself about those different things. With the stop rate, seeing the second fair value gap on your second trade. Yeah, I think there was still a 1 minute setup here. Let me check. There might have been an order block. Let me see. I guess not, actually. I don't think there would have been a 1 minute setup here. Honestly, I've learned that knowing when and when not to trade is a major skill in trading itself. Absolutely. Guys, I'll tell you this. The hard part about trading is not trading. That's not the hard part about trading. Trading is not the hard part about trading. It's mentally dealing with trading. That's the hard part of trading. Every aspect of trading that reflects onto your mind and how you think is the hard part of trading. Because whether you think that you're thinking a certain way or you're not, you are. Psychologically, you are. It's just how we are as humans. When you have risk on the table, when you are constantly working towards a goal of yours, there's always some thoughts in the back of your head or some motive or some idea that will get in the way of logical thinking and logic response. And that's the hard part about trading. The actual technical side, if I told you, think about it this way, I tell you exactly what you need, and you know exactly what you need, which is the model that we constantly talk about. Drawn liquidity, bigger time frame variable, stop rate, blah, 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 all of that. I give you that list. If you only take those setups, you will be profitable. But you won't. It's hard to, right? It's very hard to. But you won't. Now, some of you will, and that's fucking great. But you got to recognize that you are human, and you have to figure out the best ways to deal and be able to control yourself. And kind of for everybody, it's different. It's kind of different for everybody. I mean, a lot of people go through the same similar things, but a lot of it is recognizing your own emotion. And I think trading is such a beautiful and great career path because it gives you an opportunity to actually understand yourself if you put in the work. If you actually want to grow and you want to be the best trader that you can possibly be, it's going to get to a time where you really have to ask yourself deep questions and you have to really, confront yourself that you don't really want to. A lot of people don't like confrontation. They don't like to be vulnerable. And you have to really ask yourself those questions. Like I'll share a video in the Discord later tonight. I got to find it on my phone, but I took it probably 2 years ago. And it was a video of me. I set up my phone and I was driving to the gym. This was 2 years ago. This was like on the brink. This was like on the brink of me becoming profitable, like maybe a couple, like 3 to 6 months beforehand. And I set up my video in my car while I was driving to the gym, and I just recorded me talking. And it was a confrontation with myself where it was like, Justin, you've been making this mistake this time after this time. How much do you need to lose, or how much fucking pain do you need to feel before this gets into your head? And it gets to a point where you have to make a decision. It gets so repetitive where you think you're fucking broken. You're like, why the fuck am I doing this? It's because you're not disciplined. You don't know enough about yourself. You don't know enough about what you want. And you really got to zoom out and ask yourself the things that are going to get to where you want, because you're focused on the money. You're focused on the outcome. You're focused on passing an evaluation. You're focused on proving somebody wrong. You're focused on proving your parents wrong. You're focused on dropping out of school. And you know what the least of your focus is out of all those things? Actually fucking trading. And that's the problem. Is people don't care to actually trade. People don't care to actually be good traders. Do you notice why a lot of the people in this fucking space, all of the fake fucking gurus, all of the fake fucking traders who think that they're good on this app and on TikTok and on fucking YouTube, you ever wonder why they actually seem like they don't like what they do? They actually like despise trading. Like they act like they don't enjoy what they do. And you want to know why? It's because they don't fucking trade. They're not actually good traders. They have no passion. They have no desire for what they do. They have no desire to improve as a person or a trader. All they care about is about making money from fucking courses, subscriptions, whatever it is. They don't care to be a good trader. That is the problem. And I don't want you guys to get to that point when you start caring more about being perceived as profitable than actually being profitable. Because I used to be at that point. Because I would see people on Twitter make a bunch of money. I would see people on Instagram make a bunch of money. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck I'm doing wrong? Like, everybody's winning around me. I want to be like that, blah, blah, blah. And I cared more about being perceived as profitable than actually being profitable. And I cheated myself for a while. And I don't want you guys to do that, because it'll hold you back. And it'll take you a long time to realize that you've just been cheating yourself. What you think about this? I don't like longs at all today, honestly. I mean, it's okay. It's not a bad internal model, but it's all right. All right, let's talk about what I'm looking at going into tomorrow. So looking at NQ, we just ended up gapping down. I am bearish going into tomorrow, but I would really like to see us retrace into probably some imbalance. I mean, we have a huge gap now, which I don't really like at all. I do not like that we have a big gap here. I'm really looking for us to come up back into this imbalance, but that's a pretty hefty move, I guess. But we just gapped down 130 points. So if I'm being completely honest, my bias going into tomorrow is going to be completely based off of what happens in the overnight session, because I'm going to be really bearish unless we get some sort of action in the overnight or like in the morning that really tells me what we want to do. But my kind of bias, or like where my head's at going into tomorrow, is I'm going to be pretty focused on the internal action and not focused on kind of the external, because we just gapped down. I would like to see us retrace into that gap and then maybe reject and go lower. But do I think that we're done selling off? Absolutely not. I think we'll probably sell off the rest of the week, to be honest. I ended up marking out this weekly imbalance down here. We're starting to run this weekly right here. We're starting to run through this. I mean, we're still in it. We technically could still hold. I don't think we will. But I'm kind of expecting to see an expansion move continue to expand down to this next imbalance. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So tomorrow, I'm kind of just looking to see if we get a trend setup, which is, again, pull back to a bigger time frame imbalance, look for a sweep, look for a displacement, and then look to take this thing back to the fucking short side. That's pretty much it. And I already checked news. We should be chilling on news. Nothing really to worry about tomorrow. We have unemployment claims pre-market. Member at 9. Don't really care about that. Pending home sales. Don't really care about that at 10. And that's pretty much it. I got out of this trade because I thought the trade was invalidated since we had a candle closure under the fair value gap, but it never hit my SL. I realized that price had never displaced out of the fair value gap to begin with. What are your thoughts? Wait, I realized that price never displaced out of the fair value gap to begin with. What are your thoughts? I mean, I would have never longed this in the first place, to be honest. But yes, don't take it off until your PT or stop loss is hit. But I would have never really taken this to begin with. I've been debating upgrading my trading view plan to get the lower time frames. Do you think it's worth it at double the price, or will it allow me to trade these internal models? Okay, so the one thing that I'll say about the 15-second and the 30-second is do not, I repeat, do not take your regular size or over leverage on a 15-second or a 30-second when you first start trading it, because it does trade a little bit different. 15-second and 30-second do trade a little bit different, and it is faster, and it is more volatile, and it is more emotional if you can't control yourself. So if you are going to get a 15 and 30-second, yes, there is a lot of opportunity on the smaller time frames because there's a lot more internal models that happen throughout the day. But with that being said, at least take a week or two to trade on the 15-second or a 30-second and paper trade on those time frames to build confidence with trading on the lower time frames and build confidence with trading on a faster pace. Something that I live by that applies to trading is that everyone has to learn their own lessons. For example, a few years ago, I was in a shitty relationship where I kept breaking up and getting back with this girl, and had all kinds of friends giving me great advice, and I kept ignoring it over and over, and eventually I just understood. And then a while after, I was able to see that the advice was perfect and exactly what I needed. But the moral of the story is that you just got to learn the lessons on your own, and you can have all the advice you want. But if you don't physically go through it yourself, you'll never truly learn. So in trading in the markets, embrace the failure over and over, and eventually you will finally follow your rules and start crushing the markets. You'll realize how simple it was, but you got to pay your dues and learn your own lessons, even though you know you're right things you got to do in trading to be successful. Absolutely. I agree 1000%. You have to experience it to be successful. You have to be able to get through the hardships. Absolutely. Because then you don't know what's wrong, right? You don't know how to survive long term. If you haven't failed and you don't know how to fail, you got to learn how to fail to succeed, right? You got to learn how to fail to succeed. Yep, this looks good. That was that trade. That same trade. Looks good. This morning, Johnny mentioned we were going to take out Monday lows, which you thought we wouldn't. Could I ask what made you think you wouldn't go and what made you? No, I didn't say that at all. I said, well, I mean, what time did I say that? I think we were going to take, again, I was just waiting for this to get ran through. I'm confident when this gets ran through, then we're taking Monday lows. Absolutely. I don't think that I disagreed with him. I think the only thing I said is I was waiting to see the confirmation first. I'm not confident that we're going to take these lows until we confidently break this imbalance. Again, the person I am, as the trader that I am, I need the second confirmation, right? I need both confirmations to really get to have a strong bias. There's a loose bias and there's a strong bias. Strong bias is when I have double the confirmation, which is the first thing I need and then the second thing I need to see. Which this is, hey, we have the first thing I need to see, which is a fat candle going into the balance. We're starting to really have a move down here. The second thing I need to see is, hey, we've just now respected this as an inverse and starting to sell off. Now I have a lot of confidence that we're going here. And that kind of happen that kind of mentality that I have goes with literally everything in trading. I need multiple things for me to take a trade off of. I'm not going to guess, and that's how I have a good, good winners and good losers, because I wait for all of that extra confirmation. I'm fine. I think a lot of the problem is you guys are so afraid of missing a setup. You guys get so upset after missing a trade. You're like, I'm still upset about that trade last week that I missed. Like, you guys get so hung up on opportunity in trades that you end up missing, and it ends up causing such bad things. And it's such a terrible way to think. And I had to realize that where it's just, you can't think like that, because you end up building bad habits. You're constantly looking for opportunity. Again, if there's no entry, there's no entry. If you miss it, you miss it. Don't sit there and fucking whine about it. Think about all the money you could have made. Think about the fucking eval you could have passed. You sit there and say, hey, I missed, wow, I had this idea. Again, it's all perspective. If I sit there and say, oh my God, man, this short would have fucking played out. I missed my entry. I was just too hesitant. God damn, I'm so stupid. What is that doing to me? What is that doing for me? Number one, it's making myself be even more on edge about what I'm doing. Number two, it's making me even more emotional because I'm acknowledging the emotion of me missing this. I'm acknowledging the missed out, quote, money I could have made from this, which is sparking a bunch of different psychological things. Or I could look at it and say, hey, wow, I missed this entry here, but dude, I would have took this trade. Like, I'm gonna journal this trade as if I would have taken it, because I predicted this exact move to happen. I mean, I was watching this. I noticed right when we rejected that, I'm like, we're confident that I'm going to sell here. I just ended up missing my entry. That's fine. I'm going to journal this because this specific moment is building conviction with my draw on liquidity. It's building conviction with my edge. Even though I didn't take the setup, it's building conviction, and it's a good thing, right? Which way is doing more for me? The first one or the second one, right? And that's just kind of how you have to think. I'd like people to understand my story. It's easy to lose money. I've lost 50K paper trade till you are profitable. Follow Justin's advice. Yes, absolutely. Paper trade or trade on evals. Used to always do that to myself, would destroy my mental and cause me to take terrible trades and go on tilt. Yep, you got to control it. Letting negative thoughts come into your psyche is one of the worst things you do. Absolutely. Thoughts? It doesn't look bad. I mean, the only reason why I don't take this is because this initial low is taken. I'm picky with it. I need new structure, right? If that makes sense. I need new after this low of day is taken. I can't take an entry here. Oh wait, no, wait. Oh wait, you took it here. If you took it here, then that's fine. I thought you took it on the second move. Yeah, I guess that's fine. Guys, if you have a trade that you want to show me, it makes it a lot easier if you just send a screenshot instead of me. Like it's not a bad thing, but it saves more time if you just send a screenshot instead of me trying to look based off like time and price. I wasn't upset I missed a trade, but more so I don't know what to think when the analysts in the channel have different opinions. Hearing Johnny saying he's short and targeting Monday low while you and Jiffy saying that at the bottom makes me spin in circles. Okay, let's talk about that. Me and DJ decided that we're no longer going to have a lot of people on live anymore. And the reason is number one, that I don't think, again, trading is one of those things where the biggest, and again, we have to be mature about this. As much as I love to have everybody on and, it's super fun, it's not good. It's not good. It's not a good thing. And the reason is because trading is a heavily convicted based game. My opinion, your opinion, everybody else's opinion, whether you're we could have 10 of the best traders in the entire world. If you put 10 of the best traders in a call and you put them in the market, I guarantee you those 10 of the best traders are not going to be the best traders anymore. Why? Because they're in a call with 10 other of the best traders. But those 10 traders don't trade the exact same way. They might trade the same concepts. They might trade the same things, but they don't see exactly the same things. And when you have constant people in your ears saying, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, I'm looking for this, I'm looking for that, even if it might be in line, just hearing other people's opinions will automatically soak into your brain and be like, wait, am I wrong, or am I right, or am I this, or am I that? And all of your conviction goes down the drain. So absolutely, I agree with you. I think today was kind of a day where I had a realization where it's like, yeah, too many people on the call. From now on, it's going to be just me and Johnny, or just two people, if not just me. Most of the time, it's just going to be just me. And then Johnny will come on sometimes too. But as much as I love Jiffy and Powell, I don't think they're ready. I think they're too immature. As much as I love them, I think they need time to master their own trading first. The reality is no one know exactly what the market will do. People need to educate themselves and become convicted in their own trades. Absolutely. I agree. Yeah, me and Johnny, I think it also has a level to do with me and Johnny are here to trade. Me and Johnny are here to teach you guys. Me and Johnny are here to mentor. We're not here to. I mean, we love having fun. We have a fucking great time when we're on. I mean, we have a great time. But we're here because we want to fucking be the best. We want to succeed. We want to make money. We want to teach you guys the right way of trading. And especially for me, being a mentor, teaching you guys, like ever since the start of this year, it has completely made myself a better trader because it makes me take more accountability for myself because I now have to, share my image with you. Again, you'll notice most of the traders that like preach, or like most of the people in your life that like preach, like, oh, you should do this. Like, I stand by this. They won't actively pursue those things or follow those actual habits or follow those things. I'm one of the only motherfuckers where I will practice what I preach. What I tell you guys, I'm doing that shit. And you can see how it ends up turning out. I made $12,000 the other day, right? And and that's from hours of constantly practicing those habits over and over again. And trust me, this is just the fucking beginning of my journey. We'll make big boy numbers soon, but that's not my goal, right? I agree, James. I agree for sure. Much love, Mike. Would you take a long right now on NQ? No. I don't trade aftermarket. Could this work? Absolutely. Will I take it? No. You wouldn't have taken that late PM loss if you weren't in a call with them? I agree. I agree. 100% agree. And I would have re-entered that trade if I wasn't in a call with them as well. I 100% agree with you. Absolutely. $12K days and saying it's not big boy money. Just wait, bro. I mean, I plan on doing bit. Like, I want that to be my average day. I want that to be my average day. I want, like, big days to be, like, 50K days. But I'm not going to rush that. Because as soon as you start focusing on money, I know it'll go downhill. And I've done it in the past where I up my size too quick, and I don't want to do that. Again, we've discussed this. This whole year is not focused on making money. This whole year is focused on execution and mastering. All right, guys, that is pretty much all I have for you guys tonight. Any last questions that you guys have for me before we end the session here? I would need to see more cactus still. Much love, Mike. How would you go about getting experience if you don't encourage over trading? You don't need to trade to gain experience. You don't need to constantly trade to gain experience. You're building bad experience. Do you not understand that? There's a difference between gaining experience versus gaining bad experience. Because gaining experience is useless if you're not doing what it's meant to be doing. Like, think about this logically. Think about anything. If I practice playing the guitar, if I practice playing a sport, if I practice cooking, yeah, let me go into the kitchen, let me burn fucking everything, let me burn the steak, let me overcook it, let me do all this shit. But hey, I'm gaining experience, I'm gaining experience. I know what I'm doing. Or like, hey, let me go play football, but let me go fucking try to only catch it with my feet. Oh, I'm gaining experience, so no worries. That's not what my focus is. It's the habits. When I say gain experience, that means coming to the market every single day, watching, focused on habits, not focused on money. You're looking at the market focused on habits, not money. Can you draw out the more before you go? What does that mean? Oh, like what I would need to see more? Do we have an SMT here? No. Actually, no. Like, I would need to see this, which I don't like. Again, I don't like. I would not take a long hair pretty much at all. Like the only way I would take a long hair would be this. Like something like that. But even then, like, it's lower probability. Don't trade this. All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of your night. I will see you all tomorrow. Go get some rest. Get some water in you. Stay hydrated. Get some work done. I'll see y'all in the morning. Peace out, guys.